Yo, what's up, my peeps? Here we are again together to work with lights. I love lighting. Level design and the lighting is by far one of the most therapeutic things you can ever do. Like sometimes, I know it sounds kind of weird, but like when I get burnt out with coding and stuff, I'll actually go download an asset pack from the Unity Asset Store or buy one that has all this environment pre-made, and I'll just go and I'll move things around and walk around in the game and place objects. It's really therapeutic to play with lighting and stuff. So this is the really fun stuff. It's also very important, and a lot of other people skip over this and don't even teach it in their online trainings and courses. So I think it's very, very important. So what we want to do now is we want to create point lights. Okay. Point lights are different than directional lights. They just cover a point, an area, and majority of the lighting you'll be using in your games is a point light. And let's just stop talking and get right to it. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and create an empty object here, and we're going to call this light. So I'm going to put all the lights in here just so they're organized. Okay. And then what I want to do is create a new point light in here. So create empty. Nope. Don't do that. Create light. Right click, create light, point light. Okay, and let's just find our little light here. Let's go to the top view up here. There we go. There's our point light, and I'm going to change it instead of perspective. Let's go to orthographic here, so it's we can actually see exactly where it is. And see, as I'm moving it, you can look up here. You can also look down there. It's affecting the objects. Okay, in this case, I want to get it in the windows. Okay. I want to get it in the windows of the building because buildings should be lit up. Okay, and when I said orthographic, I meant isometric. If you click here, isometric, it kind of flattens out everything, as you can see, like this. Takes out the perspective, and perspective puts it back on to what the 3D game would actually look like. Sometimes it's just nice because it helps you navigate your objects better. So here's my light. And look how huge the radius is here. So it's covering a long range. Let's turn up the intensity over here on the inspector on the right-hand side. Okay, if I turn it up really high, it affects the whole area, right? Is a light like this going to affect the whole area? Probably not. Okay, so let's just tone it down a bit here. And, really, the range should be smaller. And we should get it in closer to the window itself. Let's increase the intensity. Let's change the lighting to like an inside light. What would it be like? It would be like an orange light inside. Still not quite where I want it. And let's increase the range again. Okay, so we kind of have this light here, right? And it's affecting its various areas. See, it can touch the ground. And I'm just trying to pull it right in here into the window, so it looks like the window's on. Okay. Now, it doesn't really look like it, does it? Let's move our camera a little bit closer so we can see what's actually going on. And then we'll fix it. So we've got our camera here. Let's click global to make it global. Okay, move it over here slightly. Okay, so there's our light. Does that look realistic? Does that look like light's coming out? And I'm going to have to say no, it doesn't actually. It doesn't make me too happy. And there's a problem. The problem is we've got an okay light, but our texture isn't really representative of a house that has a light on. And so we need to fix that. And this is common. You'll run into assets or textures, and you're going to need to figure out how to work with them. In our case, I think what I want to do is directly manipulate the texture to make it look like there's light coming out of these windows, all the windows in the house, and all the houses, because this just doesn't look natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find this texture on this building. So I'm going to click the building. Okay. And we're going to go find here's the material. I expand that. And then I click the texture. And there it is. And I'm going to right click this to reveal in the Finder. Okay. And then we've got this .tga file. So I have a copy of Photoshop. If you have a copy of Photoshop, open this up. If you don't have a copy of Photoshop, go ahead and get a free trial of it. They have a free trial, or use your favorite editing program here, or you don't have to follow the step at all. I'm just going to show you what you can do to modify the texture to make it better work for your level. And as an indie developer especially, you're going to have lots of times where you have to figure things out on your own. So we're going to open with Adobe Photoshop. Perfect. And I'm going to pan around. Actually, my Photoshop is way too large. I need to make it smaller. That's the downside of working with 2 screens or constantly switching back on my 5K monitor and then recording in lower resolutions. Things get popped around. Okay, and I think it's still too high. Oh goodness, this thing is really big. Oh my gosh, come on. Man, 5K monitors. Okay, there we go. So if we look over here at the texture, I'm going to press the Z key to zoom in. Notice how there's no lighting in here. It's just kind of blah. So what I want to do is I just want to fix it. Zoom in here a little bit. And what I'm going to do is right click over here on the magic wand tool. And I'm going to select this one, this one, this one, and this one, holding down the shift key. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a brush by pressing the B key. And I'm going to get kind of a fuzzy brush like this. And I'm going to change the opacity down to around 18% and the flow to around 60%. And we're just going to kind of give it like we don't want it to be too hard because we want it to look like light, and light's not perfectly consistent. So, we're just going to kind of drag around like this. I know it's not much, but it'll make a world of difference in our game. Okay. So it's not perfectly yellow. You can see some of the variance in there, which is what I wanted. And I did Command D to deselect. I'm holding down or press Z to zoom out and hold down Alt to zoom out. So that looks good, but we're not quite done. I know there's a window here, and I know there's a window here that we're going to need to fix, and there's also windows over here. So let's just do them all really quick. And I know it caught some of this wood here, but that's okay. That's good enough. So let's just do the same thing here, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, and we don't want it to be completely solid. Actually, Command Alt Z, Z. I drew a little bit on the bottom. Let's do it more like that. There we go. Okay. So that's looking nice. W to go to magic wand and hold down shift and shift again. And again, just add some light to it here. Just some yellow. I just picked a yellow color. Nothing specific. I'm not an artist. I'm a hacker. I hack art. I hack code. That's what I do. You can do the same. Look at those lights are already looking more vibrant. And let's do this last set of lights here. I mean, there's probably more. Yeah, there is. We'll do those ones too. Okay. W, magic wand, holding shift. Beautiful. Just clicking and dragging. Beautiful. What's really amazing is somebody hand painted these here. I don't have the skill for that. I haven't spent enough time practicing. That's amazing. If you're thinking what I'm doing is amazing, it's not. This stuff's amazing. And I didn't make this. Just making the windows a little bit brighter. Shedding some light on the situation. Command D to deselect. Z and then Alt to click out. And I think we've gotten all of our windows. So I'm going to go ahead and click Command S or Control S to save. Close out of Photoshop. And since I directly manipulated the file itself, when I go back in here, it's going to re-import that texture. As you can see, the spinning wheel of death. And we're back in our game, and I know you can't see anything just yet, but if I go over to my directional light and turn up the intensity, oh, that's not what I want to do. Well, let's, I just want to show you what it looks like. There, turn off the lights. There we go. I just turned off the lights here in the editor in the scene. Notice how they're yellow. They look a lot more like there's lights in them, okay? So now, let's turn those lights back on. Okay, now over here, I can, I think I screwed up my directional light. Turn up the intensity a little bit more. Now, this light, it looks like there's actually light inside, whereas before it didn't, which is really cool. Doesn't that look like someone's emanating a light from inside? Yes, it does. Don't hate. Okay, so let's make it a little bit out further just to show that it's kind of affecting the outside roof, which I think a light would. And inside my lights, I'm going to create a new empty object, and we're going to call this one Windows. And let's just drag this point light in here for some organizational reasons. And of course, this light should also be baked. Okay? And I'm going to select that light and Command D, and we're going to move it in front of this window. Ooh, look at that. So, our little scene is coming together here. Let's Command D again for another light over in this window. Now, because there's two lights so close together, it's starting to be too much light. So I think I need to decrease the intensity slightly on both of these two lights that are close together, just so they're not so bright, and slightly change the range maybe on this a little bit smaller. Okay, that's looking really nice. Okay, it's starting to come together. Let's grab our camera here and just back out a little bit more. Okay, so obviously there's lights on this house here on the left side and in here in the front. So let's turn that on. Let's grab our first point light here, Command D, and move it on over. Ooh, look at this. We're making a scene. And let's Command D again and move this one forward. Again, anytime I'm rotating around, I'm holding down Alt and clicking. Okay. And let's just move this down to where our other light source is, which is down here in the door. Okay, so what was interesting is you're probably starting to see how lighting in a scene comes together. It usually starts off really black, and you're maybe tempted just to use a directional light to light the whole scene. But if you add enough point lights, and trust me, Unity games have hundreds of point lights in the professional games. Just add some point lights, and then your scene really starts to come together. It's starting to look like, you know, there's people in these buildings at night, you know, getting a pint. And let's Command D again. Move it over here to this barn door, or a tavern door, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, look at that. Looks like there's a couple more doors here we need to get. So I'm just going to save, Command S, and then Command D. Ooh, nice. Okay, Command D again. Let's move it over here. Okay. Now, doesn't this look like a nighttime scene with the houses lit up? I think it does. I think this is looking really great, actually. Cool. So let's call this video done for now. There's a lot more to do, but what we've done so far is we've worked with point lights. We've talked about increasing the range. We changed the color on it, the intensity. The bounce intensity, of course, is how much it bounces. The light will bounce off of a secondary object. If the light casts shadows or not, okay? Hard shadows, soft shadows. In this case, we don't need shadows. It just doesn't make sense. And make sure that all of your lights, of course, are baked, because we're going to bake these lights. We don't need them real time. We want them baked into the graphics. Now, could a designer have designed the graphics to look like this with the lights? Okay, they could have, but then our house wouldn't look good at daytime, right? Like, because the roof would have the glow on it and you wouldn't be able to use it. And so sometimes it makes sense to let the lights do the work and then bake it in after in Unity 3D, which is really, really cool. There's one more thing actually we need to do before we end this video. Okay, anytime that you work with lights, okay, when you import your models, you need to click a setting. This is crucial. Okay, if you're still watching and you haven't skipped this video, okay, you're like, oh, this is boring stuff. Listen now, because this is so important. We need to select our model here. Okay, we need to go find it in our project, actually. In fact, let's just go down here in our folders, in our sample level. Okay, here's our sample scene right here. Okay, we need to do something that is very, very important. I'm just going to make this bigger just for now. Do you see all these objects here in the scene? Okay, actually, let's the models. Okay. I'm trying to see if we're using the mobile or not. I don't think we're using the mobile text, the mobile ones. So go into Fantasyland Set Models. Okay, and here's all the models. Okay, and here's something very, very important you must do. So I'm going to scroll down here, and we're going to select a whole bunch of these. I clicked the first one, and I'm going to go down here to this one. We don't want to click the folder, or it'll screw this up over here. So I've gone all the way down here to House 2. And then there's this model tab right here. Whenever you're working with lighting, okay, baked lighting, super, super important. You need to, on every one of your models, okay, you need to go down here and you need to click Generate Light Map UVs. When you're creating a model in Maya or 3D Studio Max, they have UVs, okay, UV coordinates and their own UV coordinates for lighting on there, okay, and those are going to come in. But with Unity baked system, they have to apply another set of UVs on. And if you don't click this, it will not work. You absolutely must select generate light maps UVs on the models itself when you're importing them in. We didn't do that because they were already there. So we're doing it now. So now that that's selected, okay, I'm just going to click apply. It'll take a second. Perfect. Now I'm going to select the rest of them, skip over the folder here, and do the exact same thing. If you're not seeing this option here to do this, it's because you probably selected a folder or something that is not a model. And we're just going to click apply on this one too. So once this is done, all of our models are now set up to receive baked lighting, which we are going to cover later, but this is a very important step. Okay. And the last important step, so it's a two-step thing. So once you've set this here, on every one of your models in the game that is not going to be moving, that you want to use baked lighting on, you want to select them all, which we're going to do right now, holding down Shift. Okay, I didn't select the game object, I just selected the models themselves. Basically the whole scene selected, not the lights or anything else. And what you're going to do is you're going to click this little box here at the top right called static. Okay? And it's going to make everything static in your scene. Another way actually you could do it, I was wrong, is you could actually select the top level object environment, click static, and then say yes, change the children as well. So that was easier. Okay, so we've selected to generate UVs for our models in the import settings, and then we made these items static. Very critical to baking lighting into a scene, which you haven't seen yet, but I'm just trying to drill this into your brain. If you forget either of these two steps, and lots of new programmers do, it's not going to work. Okay, that's it. We're going to move forward. Mark Price at devslopes.com.